Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from TCG353. I am Jamie and today we are playing the statistically best green Bonney deck that I can find. It has a very high percentage win rate. It also is playing against opponents in 2 billion berry bounty ranked, which are some of the best pilots of decks in the game. So without further ado, if you like this type of content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to keep on watching. I'm posting daily, and let's talk about this Sky Island Luffy matchup. Our turn 1, we play out Bonney and we search out the Zoro blocker. Mostly it's a 2k in our hand. Our opponent plays the Shura and is deciding on what they want to search, and they pull that Calgara from top. So most likely they'll play that out next turn, we'll soon find out. Our opponent leaves 1 Don standing. There's no point in them attaching if they're swinging 6. We do, for the fun of it, consider giving them a bunch of 2Ks and wonder what the game would go like. We'd get another search off, blah, blah, blah. But it would be not a good idea, so we don't. We play out the Tashigi after swinging 5 into our leader, or into our opponent. Our opponent takes, and we have 1 Don up for leader, but leading now. We'll see what our opponent does, whether they sequence their swings in such a way. They can remove the Tashigi with the Zeus if they'd like to, but they don't. They use the Calgara, and we are able to use our card action to freeze the Calgara, and we take that hit, allowing our opponent to draw. We could have countered there, but we would be given a 2k for a 5k swing, and we didn't really want that inefficiency. We can also freeze the Calgara next turn, so it's not going to be a trade on board for us for very long. That's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to play down our carrot, 5 Don, freeze that Calgara, and we have 1 Don up for leader ability as well. So our opponent can choose to either swing first to knock up his value or not. They choose to play out the Robin first and use the Gidatsu. The Gidatsu can remove this Tashigi, and I'm wondering if they will. Of course they will, and they get that off the board. Our opponent now swings 5, yes they do, and we are considering what to counter with. We eventually give them 2k. Our hand seems to be made up of only 2k, so of course we're going to use it. And we start counting out the Don manipulation that we're able to get from Cavendish here. So we can actually play out Cavendish into Carrot, which is very, very strong combo for this turn. Of course we can't use leader ability, but we can freeze 2 of their bodies, so we'll only take 2 swings. We have enough counter, we believe, to block out of them. So this is what we do here. Our opponent also has the opportunity to use Sky Island Luffy here and put a bit more aggression onto us, but I still believe that having the 2 cards on board is worth it to forgo leader effect that turn. We have enough cards in hand to be able to protect out of it as well. So we look like we're in a good spot. They actually use the Zeus because their protection's off the field. They use the Zeus and they're able to KO the carrot quite easily actually, but they take a life, so they're actually getting lower and lower in life now. Use 7 Don then to play out the Robin and the Luffy on top of that. We give them counter for the Luffy swing. The reason is that they can't attach any more Don, so they swinging 5 into us. Of course they draw with the Calgara, and that is very annoying throughout this whole game. But what we have to consider is that we'll be able to freeze that Luffy next turn with the card if we keep it up, and we want to keep it up. We have some options on our play to make here. So we could bounce the carrot, we could swing with the carrot, bounce the carrot back, and freeze 2 items. We'll see what we decide to do here. We swing 7 into their leader just to get 2 cards out of hand. And that's what they give us. They give us 2 2Ks, so we know that we'll be able to put on a bit more aggression this turn, if we so choose. Yeah, their hand is not really 2k heavy, and for the last swing they must have wanted to keep those 1ks in hand, which is fair enough, I guess. Now what we will do is, of course, we're going to play down that bounce law to get a card back, and we choose either the blocker or the Cavendish. Now we choose the blocker. We could have bounced, in all fairness, we could have bounced the carrot back and froze 2 bodies on board, which would have actually been quite a strong turn. But getting the blocker out, 1, in my head, it prompts them to swing into that, which will act like a blocker anyway, and if they don't, we get a blocker up for next turn, because we'll still have freeze options, so we will actually be in quite a nice spot. Our opponent on 10 Don now, maybe they want to play the ace, or not the ace, the NL, to get the free, to heal their life, and if they do want to do that, then we have enough counter to be able to protect our carrot from their leader swing. Yeah, they can swing into it with their Enel if they'd like to, but they can't swing into it with leader. So us blocking out there and being so low in hand size, it was very risky for us, but also we're thinking here, we have 3 life, we have a leader ability, we have the potential for this Bonney here to do a bit of work for us. It's just that we'd have to swing with 3 bodies, and so we start counting out Don to get those swings off. Of course, attached on isn't rested on, so we might just be playing this Bonney out as a blocker or keeping it in hand and leaving leader ability active. We definitely do want to keep leader ability active this turn, so we are going to. Not being able to freeze the Luffy might hurt us this turn, that being said. We swing 8 with leader. We are planning on swinging 9 with the bounce law, but instead, yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster here. It's hard to know what sequencing, and of course, swinging 8 and then swinging 6 isn't very optimal. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to swing 8, we're going to swing 6 and 6. And now we have enough rested cards in hand to get draw 2 and trash 1, which is quite cool. And we draw into the Hody. I think this deck is running 1 Hody Jones, maybe 2. So drawing into that is absolutely massive. So we're really hoping for a freeze event here to come up clutch for us. Maybe if our opponent splits down, then they're able to get the game. Probably not, actually. We have leader ability up and we have 2 blockers on the board. So we are actually in quite a good spot. We also have the Zoro effect that can rest cards. So that can rest cards if it is going to be rested. And also Sky Island Luffy doesn't run rest options. So they could KO with a Zeus, go down to 1 life, but it would put them in a tricky enough position. Our opponent throughout this whole game sequences incorrectly, sort of, with their swings. They should obviously swing with their biggest first, because I'm going to freeze, or I'm going to rest their biggest swing afterwards. And now we are happy to be taking life finally. Let's see what we can get out of it. This 5, we could get a free block off, but we choose to just take again. And our opponent has now played down two Borsas and a Sky Island Luffy, so it is just looking so tough for us until we pull into Electric Luna at the end. Now look at this. This is absolutely unbelievable. We play down our Hody, we have 0 life, so there's nothing that's going to scare us in terms of like taking a life. Now we have an AK rush character. We don't have leader ability online, but they also don't really have options in terms of hand size. We have 2 blockers up as well. And if they have a rush, then 2 blockers is well enough to protect ourselves. And we have counter in hand for leader swing. So we get the 5 cost swing, we get off. The 8 cost swing, we get off, we leave 2 of our blockers up. We have 6k counter in hand as well. So we're actually sitting pretty in most aspects here. If they wanted to bring out like 2 Sky Island Luffy, say, but I think, yeah, 2 Sky Island Luffys, if they have that in hand, we would still be fine. Yeah, we'd be totally fine. And we'd be able to go for game next turn as well. That was absolutely huge. Perfect sequence of cards from life, and we're very thankful that we were able to get that from life as well. Our opponent takes their top life to swing into us, or to KO one of our blockers. They add a life with Gum Gum Rifle. They've taken a Zoro from life as well, so I presume something's going to happen with that Zoro eventually. It's good to see that they don't have a Borsellino as well, but now our opponent is 2 life, but it looks as if we have perfect math to be able to break them down, because we have counter in hand to protect our life. So they swing 8 into us. If we didn't have the counter for this, our opponent would have won 100%. But we do have perfect counter, or we have a bit more than perfect counter, to be fair. And we see our opponent has a 2k at the top of their life, which will help us when we're going for game. We swing 7, our opponent has to take that. And now we swing 9. If our opponent has 2 2ks, they still can't get out of this, so they take. And we swing 11. If our opponent has 3 2ks, they have to take. You see our opponent did have 2 2ks, so the sequencing was absolutely perfect. Good game to our opponent. We just got incredibly lucky at the end. They were looking for a rematch, but we were just grinding out different games with this green Bonney list, so we had to jump and go into the next game. But really good game from our opponent. We 100% got lucky off life, but it is quite cool to see when it comes off. Now our next game is up against Red Blue Lucy. This and other games with green Bonney I found kind of go into murky waters at the end, where you're kind of fighting for when you're going into the long game, because you have a lot of blockers in this list, one, and you also have in your leader ability something that allows you to prolong a game a little bit longer, because you can always deny them one swing. We search into a searcher to get another search off, so that is a very strong turn for us. Play out the Cavendish at 2 active, we'll be able to get a search off and keep one done up for leader ability as well. So they'll have to decide whether to swing into us or swing into our Bonney. Next turn they'll only get 1 swing, which is very strong, absolutely. They use leader to swing into the Bonney. We rest the Barto. They use Barry to get our Cavendish off the board. But look what we have in store for them. We have another Cav, and we're going to play that out after searching, of course. With that search, which is unfortunate, set 2 Don active, attach 1 to our leader, swing 6, which is sort of no problem for Lucy now to defend, since they have the Dress Rose event, but I'd imagine that their hand isn't looking too good if they are taking hits like that. Our opponent swings 7 into us and we rest their leader. They play out the Sabo and use another barrier pistol to get the Cavendish off the board. Just doesn't seem like we're allowed to have Cavendishes this game, but it's a good thing we keep pulling into them. We just did quick math in our head to see how it works out, and we'll be able to play a Cavendish into either a Smoker or a Bonney. So rather than using leader ability this turn, we just blocker it up. I mean, they're only going to be able to get 2 swings off anyway, and we have a chump blocker on the board. If they choose to rest the Sabo, we're actually in a very good spot, so we hope that they will. They search with Viola to search Rebecca. Rebecca searches a Sabo, so we can imagine what they're going to do with their next turn now. We use the Supernova card to be able to gain an active Dawn and rest the Sabo, so we can go a bit more aggressive next turn. And our opponent actually pivots, so of course they want to play the Sabo that turn. But if they do, then they can put a Dawn on the Rebecca blocker, which is maybe what they want to do with this turn, so that was a good play from us. They play out the Barto and are able to draw even more with Barto Club. And we now consider whether we want to block or counter, or if we want to do either. We don't. And we play out the Shanks on Rip. We'll just test the waters first, I guess. The Shanks is really nice here, being 9 cost. You can play it down, KO a body, and leave leader ability up as well. So now we're going to swing 7, set 2 Don as active. And yeah, there's not much else we can actually do with our hand. Like we can set that Don active here and swing 9, but I mean, they're going to block it. So it's kind of like in that moment there, we just don't bother with it, and we play out the Laboon then to protect ourselves from KO, because we don't really want the Fire Fist to come down and then Baby Fire Fist to come down to KO or Shanks. So we'd imagine that they're going to use Fire Fist into one of our bodies that are tilted sideways, whether it be the Banish or the Cavendish. Both of them are very good options. They choose to go into the Cavendish, which I do agree with. Swing 2 into -2, let them have it, that's fine. And swing 8 into us, considering what to do first. Oh no, they have that rested, but they can swing 6 or 8 if they choose with the Barto. But I'd imagine they'll put it down on that Rebecca. Our opponent swings 7 into us and we take, and we pull into a Mihawk up top. We would really like for them to tilt that Sabo sideways so we can freeze their whole board, and that is pretty much going to be the aim of this game here. But setting blockers is very important at this stage, because our opponent wants us to go down to 0 life so they can crack down the goalie Roger and just get the game. What is unfortunate about this turn is because we haven't used a blocker yet, we're going to have to play over it, or else we'll have to play over the Laboon. We'll consider that. I believe we'll play over the blocker. I think that's the best turn, because we don't want the Mihawk to be able to get Fire Fisted just so easily. Because it's only 8k power, it can just get removed straight up. So it's not really worth it for us. to let that go. Swing 7 with a banish. Our opponent gives us the block, so now we are most likely gonna go for some Luna action. We're gonna first bounce cards. We'll play over both the Laboon and the blocker, considering which one for a second. We could get rid of the Smoker, but actually having the Laboon is pretty great to have in hand as a 2k. And we draw 2 trash 1 with the Bonney, so we have 2 blockers up now. 1 done up for leader ability, so we can rest their Sabo blocker quite easily. They choose to swing with it, which is probably wise. We are going to rest their leader, definitely, because their leader can get access to plus 3k power if they use one of the big events. It can also become a double attacker, so it is smarter to do that. I hope we do that. We don't do that. I don't understand. Yeah, that wasn't the play to make, definitely. Resting their leader was smarter. Maybe we're thinking that we want them to play a Sabo down so that they'll rest and we can get a big Luna off next turn. It's hard to know 100%. So they swing 6 into our Bonney and we let that go. See, they don't actually use the Fire Fist on the Mihawk and trash it. They use it on the Shanks, but they don't swing into it. They just let it be negative power, and here it comes, a small baby fist to come out. And now we have options here. So how do we want it to go? We have 3 blockers up, okay, and we have 1 life and we have leader ability as well. So what we can do is we can either Luna everything, which is probably smart, or we can carrot and hope to just let the game last longer. We swing big into their life with the banish, and they actually give us counter for that. So they're kind of angling towards another turn. Is it a misplay to use the to swing into their life in case they have a Goldie Roger? It's debatable. At this stage in the game, I think it's probably good to. If they play it down anywhere, we're in a bit of a jam. And we're going to use Luna here. So that's actually going to be the line. We're going to use Luna here, so we'll actually go aggressive there with our swingers. And if they do tilt that Sabo down, which I do believe they will, from this AK swing, because I don't think they have it in hand. If they tap that down, we have a Luna for everything on board, and we have 1 done up to be able to deny their next swing. So it's actually kind of works out perfectly with the way our hand looks, unless they have enough counter to be able to get out of this. If they have enough counter to get out of this, then we are toast, and they do. No need to set it down as active, and we'll see what our opponent does here. Yeah, we will see. We could get the greatest trigger of all time from life, who knows? Or maybe they don't have a Roger. If they don't have a Roger, we're absolutely laughing. But them having 2 2k counters at the end was very clutch. And we couldn't have swung 9 there because, they probably could have countered because they have so many events, but also we wouldn't have had leader ability up. And you see here our opponent actually doesn't have the Goldie Roger. When we seen that Rebecca go down, we knew we were going to win the game, essentially, or at least not lose. But our opponent prolongs their turn now because they're going to put down 2 Rebecca blockers, use barrier bulls here to make their leader 6k and draw a card, and then draw a card with leader effect. And we really were not expecting that at all. We really weren't. And now we're in another spot where we're thinking, okay, if our opponent has a Goldie Roger next turn, they still win. Can we prolong it? Maybe not. We could definitely freeze that Sabo. It's hard to swing into the Barto because you can trash an event and it's fine. But we could freeze that Sabo, and then our opponent would have a few turns for next turn, or a few swings to next turn. But what they also would have is the ability then to, if they have a Goldie Roger, absolutely guarantee the win. We're basically just hoping our opponent doesn't have a Goldie Roger every turn from now, and we're kind of playing around it in that sense, because we're swinging our blockers. And we were just about to hit our opponent with GG, as in to say, we've lost. There's no way we can come back from this. But we dig deep and we see what we can do with it. because we see this thing, right? If they have a Goldie Roger, yeah, they probably win. In all fairness, they probably do. So we'll see what they do here when we swing into their Bart, though. They'd be wise to, yeah, okay, they use the event here. And we leave 2 of our blockers standing. If our opponent pulls into Roger, look, good game. But we've actually done quite a good job here in that we swung into the Barto to deny them being able to swing into us. They swing 5 at us initially, and we can get a free block on that, 100%. Like, if they have a Roger, they should have played it down immediately. They probably don't. And we can get the free block on this as well. And we're now just... Yeah, okay, so now they choose to split down, but we have enough counter for it. Good game to our opponent. They probably could have used their Don a bit better at the end, but we were just able to outlast them with our blockers. Of course, they wanted to see that Goldie Roger, and we were very lucky they didn't. Maybe they trashed it at the start, I'm not sure, because if they, like, it's rare to see a Lucy use or like go through their deck and not find that Roger towards the end. So good game to our opponent. I guess they were unfortunate, but we held on when we actually thought we were going to lose. So also a good game to us. Let's go into the next one, which is against Red Blue Ace, an absolute phenom. As always, very fun to play because it is so strong. Opponent swings 6 into us, we take, and they attach it on afterwards. Could have been a misplay, but like not really as well. And then we swing 8 at them. We debated swinging 9, but even numbers is better against Ace, and also having a Laboon now is quite strong for us because an Ace might run Josu or an Atmos, as you see here. So they run the Atmos, and that can bounce our Laboon back to hand, which is a 2k still in the hand. So it's, you know, we're not gonna go crying about that. We play out the Cav, activate 2 leader ability from that, or 2 Dawn from that, after we bounce back the Supernova Searcher from hand by playing out the Law, and we have 1 Dawn active now for leader ability. So we're only going to get swung into once next turn, and maybe they'll want to swing into the Cav. Who knows? If they do, we'll protect it. We have a bunch of counter. We also have a very strong hand for Luna. As you can see there, we have the Luna and the Holy combo, which is very, very good actually. As you saw from the first game, it can come in very clutch. The Mihawk is a bit of a sleeper in this game, or in this deck. And the Zoro does come up. I had a very fun Zoro game to show you guys, but I mean, it was so long, and I think I made... I didn't play it perfectly optimal, so I left it off. They used Distorted Future after playing down a Yamato. They drew 2 with the Yamato attached, rested onto their leader, gave -3k to our Cavendish, and then KO'd it. So we're going to see now what happens here. We swing 6 into their leader just to see what happens, and they give us leader effect. We play down the Mihawk, activate 4 Dawn from that, and we search with the Supernova event. Consider what to take. We take the Bonney, attach 1 to our leader, or we attach 2, and swing at the Atmos. They already gave us leader ability there, so they'd have to give us a 2 and a 1. So that was the better option to swing. We're also able to gain leader ability back from the Supernova Searcher, which we will most likely do. Our opponent bounces the bounce law back to our hand, which actually isn't that bad of a thing because it is such a strong card. And we take this hit and we allow them to swing 6 into us because we can block out of it. So resting them isn't actually that important. The reason we don't use the leader ability here, right, is because, well, yeah, we have the free block, but also we have a really good target for the 6 cost law in that Supernova Searcher. So we use a cost to reset 4, we use the a cost Mihawk to reset 4 Dawn, have 6 Dawn, play out the bounce law to play out the Bonney to draw 2 trash 1, an incredibly strong turn from us, and we choose to go aggressive with our Mihawk. We leave 1 Dawn standing after the Bonney comes up. We could swing 6, but we're just not gonna. It wouldn't make very much sense at all, so we don't. And pass the turn. Very strong board state from us. Our life total is equal, and our opponent does get, I wouldn't say greedy, but chooses to play the Newgate out first to get the 2 active Dawn so we can swing big into our characters. which is good for him, but you also have to consider there that they've left themselves open to me resting their Newgate, and I'm always going to do that. I'm always going to take that trade. Now our opponent swings 10 into our 8. We have the option of giving them 2 and a 1 here, but our hand would be extremely bricky if we did. So we're just thinking on, do we really need that Mihawk all that much? The answer is we really do want it, so we keep it up, and now our board has 4 blockers. Granted, the Law hasn't become a blocker yet, but 4 blockers is very, very strong. We play out the Shanks just to eliminate that Newgate, get it off the field, and now we will start swinging into the Jozu. The Jozu actually has a lower life total than the Ace, so it's a better target, and that's why we choose to swing into it. Our opponent gives us 2k and leader effect, and we pass turn after turning 2 of our Mihawks down. Our hand is looking nice, and if our opponent chooses to swing with that Zoro, we may be able to get quite a nice board freeze off. Now there's an option here to either freeze or rest the Jozu, so the Jozu can't swing, and we can get a better Luna off next turn. But we were hoping that our opponent is going to swing with their bodies. They constantly keep the Yamato up, which is a bit annoying for us, to be honest. But with the cards that we have on our board, it's fine that we don't use Luna this turn because we still feel pretty safe. Since we have a Shanks in hand that can KO, we also have the Hody. If we do choose to want to do an aggressive Luna play, we have that option. But we will, instead of doing all that, we'll just pepper them down, and swinging into Jozu here is the best because it's less life than leader. They also don't have a leader. They didn't have a Don attached to the leader, I don't believe. So they weren't getting the draw off that. So now we actually have a larger hand size than our opponent, and we have more life, which is great. Our opponent learned from last turn that they can't play out a Newgate into us and swing because we're just going to rest it. So they swing first and then play the Newgate, which is it's kind of fun to see. We have the option to hold 2 of their blockers and just swing a bunch, and that would have actually went through. Our opponent is 8k. We would have been swinging 8, 12, 12, or 8, 9, 12, 13 if we wanted to, which definitely would have went through. So good game to our opponent. We were just able to remove their board so effectively, and once they learned that they couldn't play out the Newgate to get the 2 Don attached, we had a Hody in hand to be able to solve that problem. So good game to them. We were fairly comfortable throughout the whole game. This deck is absolutely cracked. It took me a little while to learn it and get the flow of it. I mean, it is a long-term game plan, but you have so many blockers and you have such cool combos like you saw there in that game. Being able to use Mihawk into Bounce Law into Bonney to draw 2 Trash 1 and then set it down active to get your leader ability going on 10 on turn is incredible. And the Shanks was able to KO Newgates quite effectively to then have a huge body on board while keeping it down up for your leader. Just really, really strong. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've taken inspiration from a very, very good deck and I've made no changes, so this is statistically the best green Bonney deck that I could find, played by the best green Bonney player, so there's obviously a bit of secret sauce in there. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. I really do appreciate it. The support that you guys are giving me, the comments, the growth in the channel and all that, it's just awesome. It's cool to see and I really love doing this, so if you subscribe then you're part of it and I'd really, really appreciate you doing so. Without saying too much more, thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now.